I've been getting this question a lot. A lot of people ask me why I'm still single. And truthfully, I've never known how to answer that question because it's never been my choice. So many people act like, oh, like it's either a choice if you get married or not. But is it though? In order to be in a relationship, people have to mutually agree that they're going to commit to each other. That's not a guarantee. That's the part I don't get when people say, oh, it's a choice. It's not. It's really not. I've done it all when searching for a girlfriend. That's hopefully going to be my wife, because the whole purpose of dating is to marry. I've done all the bad things, the good things. I've done the dating apps, which is obviously not the place. I mean, it works out rarely for some people. I understand that, and I'm not saying that God can't work in certain ways, but it's not the best, and it should be obvious why. But yeah, I've also been in these last 5 years been too clingy, but I've also not cared at all because of my past experiences with that. But I've also been in between, and I've been respectful, and I've kept my distance so I don't fall into lust, and I've been smart about that a lot of the time. I've been in every single place, and I have done all that I can to search for a girlfriend, and I'm not expecting the first one to be my wife, but that is the whole point, to date to marry. But with that being said, you look at it from a societal perspective, what do girls emphasize? Oh, he's got to be 6 foot, he's got to be muscular, he's got to have a mullet and a stash if they're into that, and he's got to make an X amount of money. I check most of those boxes. Obviously that side is crossed off, and that's the material side never wins. The side where good morals are based off of, which is Jesus Christ, is Jesus the center of the relationship? Yes. Is he a God-fearing man? Yes. Even though I am a sinner, I am a God-fearing man. Is he going to lead me how Jesus would lead, and how Jesus calls men to lead the household? Yes. So if I check all these boxes, you would think that somebody would be interested in me, but that's not the case. And it's almost a mystery in the most humble way possible of explaining it, because you check all these boxes, and there have been times where I do fall into the trap of seeking validation from women, but I've had such a peace about it lately because I know it's mysterious, because I know I can't explain it, and that's how I know God is in control, because the whole point is to not know. So we rely on God, because this situation, in all honesty, has never made sense. My entire life, I have been single. I have never been able to date anybody, and there have been people who have been interested in me, but very, very rarely. And I know those relationships wouldn't have worked out if that was something I pursued. The more I think about it, the more I ask questions, the more I exhaust myself. There's been a lot of drama too in the past of trying to pursue a relationship that will hopefully lead to marriage. And there was that story of just that person being fake and talking behind my back, all that stuff. And I've had all the manipulation in the world, and that's kind of why I'm open to now being like a Paul after his conversion, because it's still up in the air. We don't know yet if Paul was married or in a relationship before he converted to Christianity, but after, we know he was single. He was a single missionary, and now, thank the Lord, I have the peace to accept that, his peace. even though it's been really hard, because I do get that question a lot. Why are you single? I'm not going to name all the times I've experienced manipulation, but there was another time when I went into the shop when I was Christmas shopping, and this girl asked very clearly for my number, and it was very clear that she was into me. I had a healthy urgency saying, hey, I'm on my Christmas break. This is the only time we can hang out. So it's the next 3 weeks or nothing, basically, in the most respectful way possible. And then she texted me the day after saying, oh, I'm exclusive with this other guy. Yeah, of course. Of course, I was the side piece. And I had such a piece about that one because I'm not made to settle. I'm not made to settle. We're not, as Christians, we're not called to settle for being the side piece. And I just want to read a quick passage about that in Proverbs 31. It was written by King Lemuel. And scholars and theologians think it could have been Solomon, because Lemuel was the Hebrew for belonging to God, or somebody that was devoted to God. And that's what Solomon was, the man who wrote most of the Proverbs. I'm just going to paint a picture right here. The reason Solomon became such a godly man was because he knew all of the negative things that come with chasing women and quick satisfaction and sexual temptation. He had 700 wives and 300 concubines. Just think about that for a moment. Like, that's unheard of. That's just unexplained. That's beyond the human mind a lot of the time. But because he went through all that, he learned what a godly man is, how to seek for a godly woman for marriage, and from all that experience, he learned how to be a good husband. So the beginning of Proverbs 31 reads this: what are you doing, my son? What are you doing, son of my womb? What are you doing, son of my vows? Do not give your strength to women, your ways to those who destroy kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel. And then later he explains what the woman who fears the Lord looks like, the godly woman. And he says, starting in verse 10, an excellent wife who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life, etc., etc. You get the point. I'm thankful I dodged this bullet, but that person who asked for my number, later I was picking up something in Marketplace the day after, and in Chilliwack, where I was Christmas shopping, and where I met this girl in this shop, and I had nothing against her. I had no grudge at all, and I was just expecting a accountable conversation, a respectful conversation, no beef, no drama, none of that whatsoever. But then her manager comes in and says, do you want me to call security? Do you know how childish that is? And keep in mind, this person, yeah, she was a couple years older than me. And I was like, number one, I don't have time for this. But at the same time, I kind of wish I was like, hey, go for it. Because it would be the stupidest reason to call security ever. Like, imagine trying to call security because the guy that you led on wants to have a respectful conversation with you. Just think about how childish that is. Like, usually you would call security if a fight broke, or if people were injured or severely harmed. That's what security is for, to protect people. That's not going to protect anybody, what you just called security for right there. So all that to say, I am a sinner, but every time I've tried to pursue a relationship, despite my fire for the Lord, and I know that I would be a good boyfriend and then a good husband, all that to say, that's how I know God is in the picture. Because I've done all I could do. If I had my way, I would easily have a wife and kids right now, because I know I'm capable of doing that. But the Lord could be teaching me something else. I'm only 22 years old. Enjoy these years when you're young to get your foot out the door, start a career, and not feel like you have to rush into a family right after college. And sometimes I have had that question where I'm like, God, if you don't allow me to date, how will I know what it's like to be a husband? Like, there's a stepping stone that has to happen, but at the same time, he can work miracles. I've heard of people and I've seen people in my life that have never dated before, and the first person they date ends up being their husband. So all that to say, I hope this encourages you if you are in a season. Well, in my case, it's been more than a season. It's been my entire life of being single. But I hope this word encourages you to pursue God in this season that doesn't make sense. Yeah, I pray that you can be encouraged by this. Let this be a testimony of God's omniscience, omnipotence, omnipresence, and that he is superior. Hey you, thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. Make sure to check out my latest multi-genre album, West Coast Jesus Reppin', on all streaming platforms, featuring guys like Scribe Music, CJ Emulous, and Mikey So Christian. And be on the lookout for my new documentary in these coming months. Let's tap into this movement all the way in together. Let's get it.